friends, it's Jen and welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would do a video where I just kind of told you guys all about the books I read in August. My original plan of starting this YouTube channel was to kind of talk about all the books I love, so I thought every month I'd make a video about which books I read in the previous month. Now I am a little late with this video. I know September is pretty much over right now. It's the 24th right now when I'm recording this. But it took me a very long time to like build my shelf and set it up and make sure my background is kind of what I liked it. I still have a little more I want to do with it, but we're good enough for right now. So I did quite a bit of reading in the month of August. I think in total I read 8 books. I did read 2 to 3 graphic novels or mangas, so those ones are a little bit shorter reads, but then the rest were novels. So we'll start off and I'll tell you guys about all of them. So I thought I would start out with the 3 graphic novel style books that I read, because those ones are a little bit of shorter reads. The first one that I read was A Quiet Girl in a Noisy World by Debbie Tung, and this one is the story of Debbie. It spans over the course of 3 years, and it's from her ending of college to present, and it's her kind of just journey through life, dealing with social situations, starting to date, eventually getting married, and it's just her observations on life as an introvert, and I absolutely adored this. I myself am a huge introvert, and I do find social situations so draining, but I am the kind of person who wants to be out, and I want to be out with my friends, but at the same time I'm just exhausted, and I've never had a book that kind of spoke to me and understood me as much as this one. I loved it so much. I was taking so many screenshots of all, they're not screenshots, photos, sorry. That's what they're used to be called. Photos of all the pages so that I could remember them. And I just absolutely adored it so much. I ended up giving it like 4.5 stars, and it was just absolutely incredible. If you also are an introvert, I cannot recommend it enough. It just really spoke to me. Now the second graphic novel book that I ended up reading in the month of August was Everyone's an Alien When You're an Alien Too by Johnny Sun. I had heard so much about this. As you guys may or may not know, if you watched my first video, I work at a bookstore and I would see it on the shelf all the time. I'd always see people picking it up, and it looked so cute. And if you haven't heard of it yourself, it's basically the story of this alien Johnny who is basically dropped off by his people onto planet Earth to study humans. Which is actually very similar to the story of Invader Zim, if you've ever watched that. Now it doesn't play out quite the same, and it's just Johnny's observations as he's going around the world, and it's got a lot of like life lessons and a lot of really cute observations as he kind of explores the human world and discovers what it means to be human, because that is what he's there to find out. Again, it was a really quick read, but the art is so cute, Johnny is so cute, all of the humans that he encounters are just amazing. I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but if you are into reading graphic novels, I would definitely recommend this one. I ended up giving it 4 stars and just really loved it. Now the third and final graphic novel style book that I read in August was the life-changing manga of Tidying Up by Marie Kondo. Now if you don't know, Marie Kondo has actually written the book The Life-Changing Magic of Tidying Up, which has become insanely popular. This is another one that people used to come in and request all the time. I had heard all about it on YouTube and stuff, and the whole premise is that people gather too much clutter in their lives, and it's 100% true. I myself have so much clutter that I keep around just for sentimental reasons. But it's the idea of going around finding things that actually bring you joy, things that spark joy in your life, and keeping only those. Don't keep things for just because. Don't keep things because it at one point meant something to you. If it doesn't in this moment bring you joy, there's no point keeping it. Now Marie Kondo, I didn't realize this until researching for this video, she was actually a manga artist already, so she did the manga for this one herself, and it is so cute. She's this little tiny little fairy of a woman, and it follows the journey of one woman whose apartment is just this big gigantic clutter of a mess, and she meets her neighbor who's this cute guy, and so she kind of wants to impress him, and he kind of looks down at her apartment. She decides, I need to change my life. and it's her discovering herself, it's her discovering all these things that bring her joy, and just bringing a happier life to herself while going through this. And so Marie claims that people who follow her method, all of her clients, have never gone back to their old ways, and it inspired me so much. Now, I haven't quite adapted those into my own life yet, but I've been slowly working on it. I'm trying to only keep the things that bring me joy in life. Now, I rated this, I think, another like 4.5 stars. It was so good. It made me want to go home right that moment and clean my house, which I still haven't done, but I'll get around to it one day. And I definitely recommend it to anybody, even if you don't intend to start cleaning and adopting these methods into your life. It's just really eye-opening to see yourself in such a way and realize how much you keep around that you don't necessarily need. Alright, now onto the novels. The first novel that I read in the month of August was actually an advanced reader copy, or ARC, that I got through work. So this one doesn't actually hit shelves until October 2nd, so I'm going to be as spoiler-free as possible, because some of you guys might not have had a chance to read it yet. But it is Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa. Now this is something that when I read the description of this, I knew it was something that I was going to love. If you guys know me, I'm a huge fan of Japanese lore and Japanese mythology and everything like that. So this one's actually the story of this girl, Yumiko, and she is half yokai, which is the Japanese like mythological kind of beast things, ghost things. So she's a half kitsune, which is a fox. And so she was raised in this temple from these monks who allowed her to embrace her yokai side, but always kind of looked down on her more mischievous side, as foxes are known for being very mischievous. So what she did not realize was that the temple that she was raised at was actually guarding a part of this scroll. Now this scroll is one that can summon this dragon that appears every 1,000 years and can grant a wish to someone who does the proper summoning. The proper summoning ritual is held on this one scroll that was separated because if this ended up into the wrong hands of someone, it could mean the destruction of the world. One night, however, her temple gets burnt down, and she is basically left with this part of scroll to go and find the other half and protect it. Now she actually ends up seeking comfort from the samurai who she meets on the way, not realizing that he is part of this shadow clan who is actually seeking to find the scroll, and he doesn't know why. He is just a person who follows the orders of the shadow clan. So she can't let him know that she has this scroll or that she's part kitsune. She knows that he's looking for this scroll, so that could bring about destruction. It was really good. I ended up absolutely adoring this book. I loved it as much as I thought I was going to. Now it is, I'm not sure if it's going to be a duology or a trilogy, but I know that there is going to be a sequel. I'm not sure when that's going to be released, but I cannot wait for it. And I absolutely adored it. I think I gave it 4.5 stars, and I would read it again in a heartbeat. I loved it. Now the second novel I ended up reading in the month of August is Truly Devious by Maureen Johnson. This book was described to me as a young adult, but it's a mystery kind of one. Now I found it was very much like a mystery similar to the style of Agatha Christie or like a Sherlock Holmes kind of mystery. It wasn't terribly like a thriller, it was very slow burn mystery, but I loved it. I did not see the ending coming. It was really good. Now this is the story of this school, Ellingham Academy. Now, it follows actually 2 different timelines, way back in the 1930s, I believe. Sorry, I read this such a long time ago. 1930s when Ellingham was actually founded, and the present day. So Ellingham was founded by this very rich man who wanted to create this school where amazing people could go to them, people who were very smart or really great at something or whatever. And so he sought out students who were really good at this and started his school. But one day his wife and his daughter are actually kidnapped by this kidnapper who left this note behind calling himself Truly Devious. And so Truly Devious had kidnapped him with the demands for a ransom. So it follows the timeline of him trying to find his daughter and his wife and dealing with all of that. And it follows the current day of this girl who ends up going to Ellingham Academy because she wants to solve that mystery, because his daughter and wife were never found. So she ends up applying, telling them she wants to solve this mystery. She wants to be another Sherlock Holmes. She wants to work for the police academy. And so it's her kind of dealing with school life and going through and trying to solve this mystery, but at the same time someone is maybe kind of on to her, and it seems like maybe Truly Devious has resurfaced because she's starting to get ominous messages and all kinds of stuff like that. It was a really, really good read. Now this one I know is going to be a trilogy. I think the second one comes out in January, but I could be wrong. But if you are a fan of mysteries and you don't mind young adult, amazing. I ended up giving it 4.5 stars. I cannot wait. I wish I had it right now. And the third novel I read in the month of August, I'm actually a little nervous to talk about because it's kind of an unpopular opinion. I actually ended up reading the book Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. Now, if you have not heard of Rainbow Rowell is hugely popular, especially on BookTube. I read Eleanor and Park by her. I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I didn't think it was incredible, but I really genuinely enjoyed it. Fangirl, however, wasn't 100% my thing. Now, if you don't know the story of Fangirl, it follows this girl, Kath, who writes fan fiction for this show called Simon Snow, which is supposed to be, I think, similar to Harry Potter. It felt very Harry Potter-esque, but yeah, she is a very popular fanfic writer. So her and her sister, her twin sister, write fanfic together, and they go off to college, and her sister kind of pulls away from her and is suddenly shutting down their friendship, shutting down about Simon Snow, and it's so her dealing with that while also dealing with really bad anxiety. The plot sounded incredible. I am someone who myself deals with very bad anxiety. I just didn't find, however, her as relatable as I thought I would be. I could probably do an entire spoilery video on everything that I didn't love about Fangirl. I didn't dislike Fangirl, don't get me wrong. I just felt like it was so hyped to me and it just didn't live up to it. In the month of August, you guys maybe don't know this, I actually read the book Eliza and Her Monsters, which is kind of a similar kind of story with this girl Eliza, who also has very bad anxiety and who actually does her own webcomic and is very popular at that. And I just felt like I made the mistake of reading that one first because I felt like Eliza and Her Monsters spoke to me a lot more with my own anxieties. I know everyone deals with anxiety differently, everybody's experience is different, but that one spoke to me a lot more on that kind of half. So I went into Fangirl thinking it would be another Eliza and Her Monsters, which I so desperately wanted, and it just didn't quite live up to the hype for me. I still ended up giving it 3.5 stars, but it just wasn't what I'd hoped it would be. Now the fourth, I think it's the fourth, I think I've lost count, novel I read in the month of August is another advanced reader copy. This one actually comes out on August 2nd as well, and this was one that was provided to me from work, and it's Grim Lovelies by Megan Shepherd. Now I actually ended up reading about this one and what the author's inspiration behind this book was, so I'll kind of tell you that because I feel like it describes the plot very well. And basically she was inspired by the story of Cinderella. Cinderella at midnight stood to lose a carriage and a beautiful dress and all of that, but these mice that were transformed into henchmen, they stood to lose humanity. They were these tiny little mice before, and who knows what kind of thoughts and stuff they had, but now they were human. They were given this gift of human life, and it was suddenly stood to be taken away from them. So this one actually follows the story of these things, these people called beasties, and they were actually animals given human life by this witch who was basically their master, and she used them as housekeepers. So it mainly follows the story of this girl Anouk, who was actually the cleaner. She did all the cleaning and the cooking and everything around this house, and she was very to a fault loyal to her witch master. The rest of the beasties in the house were not as fond of her as Anouk was, and there was some tension and stuff there. However, one night after a little bit of a gathering, Anouk goes into her master's bedroom to find that she has been murdered. So it follows Anouk and her friends trying to find another witch who can grant them the spell to keep them alive because they don't want to lose out on this humanity. Anouk frequently describes the time before she became human as just like a blackness. She doesn't remember the time before. She doesn't even remember what animal she was before she became human. All she knows is this life now, and she doesn't want to lose it. But it also kind of has like a hint of a mystery where they need to find out who it was that killed their master. And this was one, I enjoyed it. It didn't read as my favorite novel ever. I think I ended up giving it about 3.5 stars again as well. There was nothing I disliked about it, but it wasn't, nothing particularly stood out. I read it back in August and already I had to re-Google the plot of it before it started again. I believe it's actually going to be a duology, so, and I actually didn't know that going into it, so I thought there would be a conclusion and there didn't even end up being. But I did really like how it ended. That is one thing I'm going to say. It left it open that I think I'm really going to enjoy the second one, and I'm probably going to read it. I found that the first book was very slow to build up, which I usually enjoy, but the ending kind of really left it open that I think it's going to be really, really good. So I'm really looking forward to that, and if this is the kind of thing that appeals to you, you might enjoy this as well. Now, the fifth novel and final book that I read in the month of August is To All the Boys I've Loved Before by Jenny Han. Now, if you watched my previous video where well, I did my Q&A question, one of them was, what are you reading right now? And that was filmed in August, so I was reading this one. So I've kind of already given it a summary, but in case you haven't, I will go over it again. And it follows the story of this girl who every time she had a crush on a boy, she wrote him a letter to kind of help herself get over the crush. And she never intended to send the letters, but for some reason she addressed them and stamped them anyway. But anyway, she stored them in her precious little hat box that her mom had given her. Now one day she goes in and finds that all the letters have been sent, and so chaos kind of ensues with that. This one, it was a really cute read. I really enjoyed it. Now, it's actually part of a trilogy, and if you guys live under a rock, it's recently been released into a Netflix movie. I actually ended up reading the book because of the Netflix movie and because I heard so much buzz and how much praise it was getting and how just incredible it was. I didn't really have intentions of reading it before. I tend to gravitate more towards stories with like a mystery or something like that. But I thought I would give it a try, and I actually really, really liked it. I stepped out of my comfort zone and it was really cute. Now, I will say I haven't read the second or third book, and I honestly don't know if I'm going to. I kind of googled how it ended and I feel satisfied with that. I ended up giving this one 4.5 stars because I read it in about a day and a half-ish, and I loved it. I really, really thought it was really cute. I really related to Lara Jean. I thought she was a really cute character, and I like sympathized with her, and I would definitely recommend it if you're a fan of young adult contemporary. And that's all the books that I read in the month of August. Apparently I was on a very big young adult kick in the month of August, so a lot of those are that. I will try and incorporate more adult books into my future reads. I tend to kind of go back and forth. I'll have periods where I read a lot of adult books and no young adult at all, or periods where I read a lot of young adult. I find in the summer, I guess I tend to read a lot of young adults, but hopefully you enjoyed the video regardless. Hopefully I can help recommend a few of the books for you. If there's anything that you guys read in the month of August that you thought was really great, make sure to let me know down below. And make sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe if you haven't already. And until then, I'll see you next time. Bye!